Homeowners in the region still need help with Hurricane Florence recovery some 6 months later. Fortunately, in Scotland County, Habitat for Humanity was just awarded a $300,000 grant for their roof repair ministry. But there's still more work to be done and more help needed. I'm Jamie Liddy. With me today to talk about their efforts to provide safe shelter and a real home situation to families of all kinds is Executive Director Chris Carpenter from Habitat for Humanity of Scotland County. We'll also hear about their annual community event known as Bike to Build. Thanks for joining me today, Chris.
Thank you for having me.
I'm glad you could come out to the studio. I know you've been here at least once before.
I have. It's a lovely campus.
Well, why don't you tell us first, how long have you been with the Scotland County chapter?
I've actually been with Habitat for Humanity in Scotland County since January of 2016. And I started with Habitat for Humanity all the way back in April of 2009. So I guess I'm coming up in a few days on my 10-year anniversary.
Wow. Now, I think most people's idea of Habitat for Humanity is providing homes to prospective homeowners who put their own sweat equity into building the home, and many shifts of volunteers helping out to get it done. But tell us about your roof repair ministry.
Right. Last year we started a roof repair ministry for the first time in Scotland County, and we planned to do some roof repairs. We budgeted for 5, and we were going to start in November, and they were going to be for the elderly and disabled. But then we had a hurricane, and with the hurricane this time came a lot of wind, a lot of damaged roofs, and it kind of just lined up that it was perfect timing for our new ministry, and so we started helping last 1st of December with the storm.
I assumed the roof repair ministry actually was a response to Hurricane Florence, but you're saying it existed before.
Right. Habitat for Humanity for years we've built homes to help create new homeowners for families in need. But what we decided, because Habitat's moving forward, and they're trying to do more repair work so they can help more families, because it's still about having a safe, decent, and affordable home, and the safety part comes into where we do the repairs. So I had an idea that I wanted to try to start slow with our affiliate, and so we thought roof repairs were the perfect place to start, so we did budget for 5 last year, and of course we needed a lot more than 5 after the storm.
What level of income or perhaps hurricane damage documentation does someone need to be eligible for your service?
Actually, right now with the new grant that we got, the household income can be up to $84,000. The money we have right now can help the low to middle income, which is great. I feel like it's great because a lot of times the middle income is what gets left out. What we require is that the application is put in by the homeowner who also has to live in the home. So we need them to have applied or called their insurance company, filed a claim, and then to, as of right now, to have at least applied for FEMA. So, and what we're going to do is we look at the applications, we look at did they have homeowners insurance, and if they didn't, then we can get past that. If they did, how much insurance money did they get? And policies are different, and a lot of times you don't get enough to do the work that needs to be done. And then how much did FEMA give them? And we either can completely do the work because they didn't get anything, or we can fill the gaps in what they needed to be able to complete the jobs.
Let's talk about that grant that was just announced by the governor's office. $300,000, right, but with the potential to extend.
Right. We were lucky that they gave us $300,000 to try to do up to 100 homes over the next 12 months. And the reason they came up with that number is we've already done 24 homes. We got an original $20,000 grant from Habitat for Humanity International, and then we got $30,000 from the Habitat State Office in North Carolina, which they received from the Golden Leaf Foundation. Mm-hmm. So we took that $50,000, and then we got $5,000 from local United Way. They got from their state disaster fund. We took that $55,000, and we were able to do 24 homes. We were really able to keep the repairs or replacements of the roofs, with whichever we had to do, to around $3,000. So the governor's office said, you've done a great job. Mm-hmm. You're not overspending per project, so we'll give you the $300,000. And the biggest thing they asked me was, can you do the work? I said, not with the staff that I have. We're a small affiliate. So they gave me another $30,000 to hire a project manager for the next 12 months. a little bit of money, $10,000 to help with administrative costs so we can get the word out to the community, another 10 for contingency things that may come up. And then, as you were saying, there's an opportunity if things are going well on December 31st, they're setting aside or holding back another $100,000 that they would give us if we're meeting our expectations.
Mm-hmm. That's amazing. And I was going to ask you what kinds of expenses were allowed under the grant, but you did mention being able to at least get a part-time project manager with that money in addition to supplies and... The
supplies and the administrative costs, that's the hardest part. They asked me what would be my biggest challenge, and a lot of people think, can you find contractors to help you? Will you be able to get the work done? And to me, I felt like the hardest challenge for us is going to be getting the word out. A lot of people don't use social media. A lot of people that need our help right now, we found, have been the elderly. And they're the ones that kind of miss out the most because
they're not hooked in, they're not wired.
And, and a lot of them don't have insurance anymore, so they really need our help. And they're not, like you were saying, they're not hooked in, they're not wired. A lot of them don't read the newspaper anymore, they don't listen to the radio station. So my biggest fear was how do we go out and we find the homeowners? Well, we can spot the tarps on roofs. So it's going to take a lot of door-to-door passing out materials and things like that to find the homeowners who need help.
Right. Now, cycling enthusiasts should be gearing up for your annual event, which is also a fundraiser known as Bike to Build, right? And that's a big community enterprise. What's the date of that, and how has the event evolved over the years?
This is our 16th event, and it is on May 18th. One thing that we've evolved from is we've learned that we need to get away from graduations and Mother's Day because over the last several years, that's when our event has fallen.
That's right. It used to be the first Saturday in May.
First or second. So we went to the third so we could be between those 2 weekends and Memorial Day, and that's where it'll be from now on. But it has evolved. It started out as just a bike event 16 years ago. And over the last few years, we've added a 5K run, and then this year is the first time we've actually scheduled the events to where we could have a 5K run and a ride combo for anyone who wants to do both.
Oh, they can do the bike and the run.
Right.
Almost like a
biathlon.
Little biathlon, right.
That's kind of what we're billing it as.
So the 5K run goes through Laurinburg and the St. Andrews University campus.
Right, that's right.
Now, aren't there 4 different lengths even for the cyclists to be able to do? There's
actually 4, but there's a 5th this year that we added. But the 4 rides, they start out at 10 miles, or about 10 and a half miles. Then there's one at 21, there's one at 32, and then there's a 64-mile ride around Scotland County. And this year, I wanted to get more kids involved, and a lot of families won't bring their kids out to ride because all of the rides do cross over Highway 401 south.
Okay.
And the police are really great about helping us get all the riders across, but they can't stay all day long. They don't know when people are coming back. And 3 of the routes do come back across 401. Everybody's kind of on their own, which, riders are used to that. So I wanted to encourage more kids to come out. So we actually talked to St. Andrews and to the police department, and we're doing a 4.5-mile kids ride this year. And that'll go out through St. Andrews campus, and then it will come back. So now parents are required to go with them, but we're only charging $20 for the kids and only $10 for the parent.
Okay. And is that how you raise money, through the registration fees?
We do. Actually, most of the money we raise is through the sponsors. We have great sponsors. And I'm a runner myself, so I run as many events as I can. And so I'm kind of participant friendly, because I know what it's like to be a participant and run these things and support organizations. So my goal is to build up the event, for the local community and anyone else from outside the community who wants to participate, by keeping those registration fees really low. So really registration fees cover the expenses. We have t-shirts, we have medals for the runners and for the riders, really beautiful medals. And so that kind of helps us keep that cost, or cover that cost.
I was going to ask what the registration fee covered. So like any race, you get the t-shirt, the race t-shirt, and as you said, there will be medals for certain places in different categories, I'm assuming?
Right. Well, we have what we call a finisher's medal, and it's a really beautiful medal for both events. So if you go out and you finish the event, you do get this 4.5-inch 3D medal.
Oh, great, just for finishing.
Just for finishing.
Okay.
So then we do, the bike ride, we do not have any kind of awards for first place, second place. You know, it's just, insurance companies nowadays will not let you have a race for bikes unless it's completely closed because it's gotten so dangerous.
Okay, so is that why you refer to it as a bike tour, really?
Right, it's a bike tour. And now the 5K race is, then we do give out age group awards.
The runners?
Yes,
yeah.
we start them under 14 years old and give them out in age groups of 10 once we get to 20, and that goes all the way up to 80 and above. So.
Well, we do have some photos from a previous year's race that we could look at, I think the studio crew will get some of those pictures ready, and I did want to ask you about where the race starts, because I know the start and finish are the same place.
Well, we start and we finish, like you were saying, at what's known as the Doolin Center. It's the rehab center. I usually tell people who haven't done it before to, it's the hospital parking lot for Scotland Healthcare Systems there in Laurinburg. So.
And here's some serious cyclists, it looks like, or at least the one on the left looks serious.
Well, we do. We have a lot of serious cyclists. You have to be serious, I think, to ride the 32 or the 64-mile route.
And there's some young people.
Right. The 10-mile route is very doable for even families. You know, some people,
like there's a young child there.
And at the time these pictures were taken, they were going to do the 10-mile route because that was the shortest thing that we had. And 10 miles is it's really not that difficult. We have SAG drivers which go out, and if there's any kind of issues, they're able to put bicycles on the vehicles and bring them back. And then we have wonderful aid stations with tons of food and things that are needed.
Right. So. I was going to ask you about those kinds of sponsors or vendors at the event providing refreshments or food. Right.
All the restaurants, or not all, but a lot of the restaurants and grocery stores provide food. It's a huge buffet of food all day long, and again, we're able to send some of that out to all the aid stations. But just when you finish, I mean, there's just so much to choose from. So, you know, from barbecue to pizza, fruits, tons of fruits. There's just subs. I could go on and on. Basically, if there's a type of food you would like to have, you probably find it when you finish the event.
What about a massage station? Because I would probably need that after a 64-mile bike ride.
But a lot of the longer races that I run, you know, there is one. So that's something we thought about, trying to find someone in Laurinburg who might want to bring their table out or just a chair massage. So, because again, you know, after a long run, I would like to see one at the end.
Right. My husband did the race a few times before he ruined one of his knees, so he would do the 64-mile with our pastor. But I'm also glad that you considered changing the date, because I remember when my kids were really little and I had to attend commencement over here at UNC Pembroke, so he had to stay home with the kids and couldn't do the race. So I think the change of date probably helped a lot.
It did. Everyone's just so busy, because even if you don't have to deal with the college graduation, it still kept falling on Mother's Day. You know, and we tried to bill it last year, or advertise it last year as a great event for moms to come out and do with their kids on Saturdays. But you know, it's Mother's Day weekend. You know, and we added the kids ride this year, and I'm hoping with it not being a holiday, parents will bring the kids out. One thing I thought about was if I could get kids involved now, then as they get older, you know, I'm hoping that after riding it a couple of years, even if they're young, like the ones we saw earlier, they can tell their parents, you know what, I've ridden this route through St. Andrews a couple of times. How about this year, can we cross the highway? You know, can we go to the 10-mile route? So, and our routes are safe. The 21 was the only one I was a little worried about, because I'm the one who goes out and paints the roads. I do have a couple of volunteers who help me do that, but I paint a lot of the roads, and the 21-mile routes, you know, I changed it this year. It always made me nervous.
Okay.
So, but yeah, it's a good event for kids.
Now, people can register on site that day, but can't they also register online?
They can. One thing I want to say is the 5K route race, they have to register by Thursday. Thursday night to be able to.
The run.
Right.
Okay.
Well, actually, we're doing it through lunchtime on Friday because the run starts at 7:30, and we need to make sure, because it is time, that we know who's running it, we know what bib numbers they have. The cyclists can register all the way up to the morning of, because the first ride doesn't go off till 8:40. Or we encourage them to go to biketobuild.org and do the registration there in advance.
Biketobuild.org.
Biketobuild.org, yes.
Good. Now, you do have a couple of traditional habitat home projects going on in the county right now, don't you? What we usually think of for Habitat for Humanity.
We do. Right now, we are actually remodeling a home in Wagram, and that home will be for a new family that's been selected, and they've done their hours and everything they have to do. And we should have that home finished so they can move in May. So, and that's an interesting project, because we're taking a home that's about 10 years old, and we're turning it back into as close to a new home as possible. And then we are building our 49th home in Laurinburg right now, and that's for another family that's been waiting for a while. We do have a small list that we've just about got through now, and they hopefully will be in June.
Okay. Now, the remodel, does your chapter have to purchase the home from someone to make that happen?
No, we remodel Habitat homes if we get them back. So our homeowners, they're true homeowners. They're paying a mortgage payment, and they, they're usually 25 or 30 years with zero interest, but they're just like everyone else. They pay taxes, they carry homeowners insurance. Every once in a while we'll get one back. We'll have a family or a homeowner that may pass away, or we had one who finished college and worked for the federal prison system, and she got promoted and moved to Georgia, and she had not been in her home long, so it wasn't to the point she could really resell it and have any real value in it, so she just signed it back over to us and said, start with a new family. So, and we take those homes and we remodel those for a new Habitat family.
And when you start a home from scratch, does the chapter have to buy the land?
A lot of the land's donated, so we do. We take a lot of donated land. We're always looking for more. We try not to buy it if possible, because a lot of times we end up having to spend money on site development to prepare the land. So we've got a lot of land right now. We've probably got land enough to build 10 more homes, but people are donating land to us all the time.
I had no idea. Honestly, it hadn't even occurred to me how you get the land to start.
Right.
Okay. Let's talk about the thrift store in Laurinburg known as the Habitat Restore. How does that help the chapter?
The Habitat Restore is honestly our major financial it's where we get most of our money. So, and it's a great store. People donate items to the store, household items, furniture, building supplies, pretty much anything you could think of. We give them a tax deductible receipt, and then we price those items and we resell them in the store, at what we think is a fair price. We try to make as much money as we can, but we also try not to overcharge. But that is our biggest funding source for what we do.
I actually do have a sofa from the Habitat Restore, and it's a sofa bed, and the mattress inside was still wrapped in plastic.
Right.
I mean, it was in beautiful condition.
And unfortunately, with mattresses, that's the only way we could have resold it, because in North Carolina, we can't. So, and that's one of the things we can't take is mattresses, unless in that situation, it was still wrapped like it was brand new. So,
right. The whole couch seemed like it was brand new.
We get a lot of really nice stuff, and I tell people all the time, we have our Facebook page. Watch that. It's the Habitat for Humanity or Habitat of Scotland County Restore page, and I tell people watch that, because we post stuff as we get it too, because everybody doesn't have time to come every day and look.
Right.
And but I encourage people to come as often as possible, because you would be surprised what comes to that store and what you may miss.
Now, you don't take clothing like other kinds of thrift stores.
We don't. Some Habitat stores do. Two of the stores that I had before I came here, we did take clothing. We look at the area that we're in, and there was already a really good thrift shop that does all clothing in Scotland County, and I don't like to compete or take away from other nonprofits, because we all try to support each other. Plus, the way our store was already laid out, we have a 10,000 square foot building, maybe 6,000 square foot of sales floor, and it's laid out where there was no room for clothing, because we get so many donations and other things.
Right. Now, Professor Dollard's class worked on some video promotions for the store last semester, and I think we can take a look at those now. They showcase different aspects of the store.
Okay.
Come to the store that offers you more.
Habitat Restore of Scotland County. Shop us first. Restore has a great selection of gently used furniture, housewares, linens, and home decor. Find holiday decorations, building supplies, books, music, and movies at low prices. Best of all, you get great deals and help Habitat for Humanity in your community. Habitat Restore of Scotland County, McCall Road, Laurinburg.
Habitat Restore, Scotland County's biggest bookstore. With thousands of titles and new books weekly, you'll find something you'll love. Bestsellers, books for children, novels, how-to, coffee table books, cookbooks, magazines, sports, and much more at Restore's low prices. Best of all, when you shop Habitat Restore of Scotland County, you get great deals and help your community. Habitat Restore of Scotland County, McCall Road, Laurinburg.
You are a DIYer, an upcycling artist. Where others see trash, you see treasure. That's why you shop at Habitat Restore of Scotland County. Restore has great prices on gently used furniture, housewares, and more. But we also have scratched and worn, but solid pieces looking for a redo. Transform vintage furniture into unique home decor, make garden art, find the hidden gem and make it shine. Habitat Restore of Scotland County, McCall Road, Laurinburg.
A lot of variety in those spots there. It's almost like a department store with separate sections.
You can see from the commercials, it is exactly what you were saying. It's like a department store. We actually have the largest bookstore area of any store in, even to Walmart in Laurinburg or Scotland County.
Right, I heard that. They call it Scotland County's largest bookstore.
It is. We have a separate media section with records and DVDs and CDs. And then we have hardware section. We have the sporting good aisle, have that whole entire furniture section. We put building materials in the back, and and then you just never know what you're going to get. It's so interesting every day. I try to stay out of there, so if not, I'd be bringing stuff home all the time.
I know, my husband too. He'll stop in and then he'll text me a picture of something, and I'm like, stop. I noticed one of the videos mentioned what's called upcycling now, and I think every month you guys have an upcycling workshop called Crafternoon.
We do.
Can you talk about that?
We do. We have a wonderful person, very creative, named Anastasia, who does that. And store manager I had a couple of years ago brought that idea to me, and I didn't realize what upcycling was. I didn't realize how big it had gotten. And so she wanted to work with Anastasia and create the Crafternoon, which would show people how to take things in our store and turn them into new and improved things. And so they do that once a month. And Anastasia, she comes up with a topic, she teaches a class, and it's really wonderful. We were featured in Habitat for Humanity's national magazine when they first did that.
I did one around the Christmas holidays, and for a nominal fee, we got all the supplies that we wanted. And actually, we were taking vinyl records, 12-inch
Right.
LPs, and painting holiday scenes on them. Or one of them I decoupaged, actually. And she shows you how to tie a ribbon through it, and you can hang it up, and it's a wall decoration.
So, yeah, and that's just a great example, and it is a nominal fee. And one thing, when I was saying a minute ago, I didn't know what upcycling was. But once I learned and I saw it wasn't taking a lot of time away from the employees, and it was actually a really positive thing, I started thinking of things I could get her to do, and found some old wooden windows, and I said, hey, I went online and I saw where people were turning these into small little greenhouses, and I asked her, could you think you could do that? And she made several of those, and they were beautiful greenhouses.
I've seen them. They're beautiful.
Out of old wooden windows.
Yeah, I always wished I had a nice enough yard or a green thumb to be able to use those,
Right.
but they're beautiful. And I think I saw another one recently.
Right, they were
Actually,
working on one recently.
Yeah.
I do remember them being there doing that.
great.
I think it was during spring break.
Okay. But that it brings to mind the issue of volunteers, because as you said, you thought Crafternoon would work as long as it wasn't taking away from the staff who are working at the store.
Right.
And so how do you depend on volunteers, or how do you get them involved or excited?
Well, we try to find anyone who wants to volunteer, and I always encourage people to do that, especially retired people, because, you know, try to get people to stay active. It gives them a chance to talk to people in the community, and we try to find things in our store that fit what they like to do. You know, so if a volunteer comes, we want to know, what do you like to do, and we work around their schedules. And we do have some really great volunteers that come the same time every week. We have one younger guy who volunteers 40 hours a week every week working on the truck. So volunteers are very important to us, especially in the store.
Mm-hmm. How can someone donate gently used items from home, the furniture or the housewares?
They can give us a call. One, they can bring it by. We're there every day taking donations, or Monday through Friday taking donations, till 3 or 4 o'clock. And then we, on the weekends also, from 9 to 3. Or they can give us a call at 910-276-3395, and we'll come out and we'll pick up the donations so they don't have to bring them to us.
Okay, because you have your own trucks.
Yeah, we do. We have 2 trucks, and we can, you know, we'll come all the way down to Lumberton and pick things up. We've been to Fairmont. You know, we try to schedule anything we can.
Mm-hmm. Is this the only Habitat Restore in the region?
It's really the only one in Scotland, Robinson. If you go down into Marlborough County, Dillon.
Okay.
Yeah, they've got one over in Aberdeen and one in Rockingham and one in Fayetteville, but they don't have one in like Hoke, Robinson, you know, like down into South Carolina. We kind of have the centralized location for all these counties, and it's really helped our store. Our store does really well in donation and in sales compared to other stores in this size county.
Okay. Well, thank you for coming out to the TV studio today to explain what Habitat for Humanity Scotland County has going on. Let's remind viewers of the date for Bike to Build.
It's May 18th, and so it's Saturday, May 18th.
Okay. And where to go to register for that online?
They can go to biketobuild.org.
Okay, great. Thanks again for being here. And thanks to our viewers. You've been watching Campus to Community from University of North Carolina at Pembroke. I'm Jamie Liddy. I hope you'll tune in again.